Now, Mark Scaife has just come breathlessly back into the box. Been a busy morning for you. I did look up at you monkeys in those cars out there before, and I did for one moment, though I don't doubt the skill of my colleague and friend Craig Lowndes, think that he may have wadded that Monaro up. Have a go at the number. 4-6 for Shane Van Gisbergen.
Wow.
Now that is a very, very impressive number. When you stop and consider some of what's been achieved so far this weekend. So in quali, Lee Holdsworth did a 4 flat and Shane Van Gisbergen did a 4 flat. So he's only 0.6 of a second away from what he did yesterday. And so when I saw that 50.8 in the first sector, old eyebrows went up.
And the other story to this little dance that everybody's doing with brake pattern caliper changes is that sometimes the dry brake system can actually get some air come into the system, and that's what's happened here on the 25 entry of Chaz Mostert and Warren Luff. They just did a caliper change with the disc. We just saw Darren Tate there top up that caliper fluid. They're bleeding the air out of the system, and they'll have a look at that after this session.
For the top 10 shootout later on this afternoon. Boy, a wild moment. And that there, I was standing there the day that Alan Moffat with my dad, Alan Moffat did exactly that and went in the fence on the left-hand side in a Brock Commodore.
In 1986. Picked up the throttle aggressively and it skipped in the rear. Fortunately, Cam's done some time in a sprint car earlier this year, so he's accustomed to hanging it out in the dirt like that. But that can go very wrong if it happens to fall down the wrong side of the curb. And that is contact with the wall for the Red Bull Holden Racing Team entry ordinary.
Ooh, that's a big moment. Massively wide. That was, it never looked like making the apex. Is that Anton on board?
Yes.
Yeah, and that, seriously, that is, that's almost in the fence on the right-hand side. He was so wide.
Which is what happened to Alan Moffat. Then you were making a point about that a little bit earlier. This is another car from the Brad Jones squad that's got a driver door issue, so they're going to have to look at that. So that's now happened several times for car 3, and I think it's Jack Perkins actually at the helm. Sorry, not car 3, car 4, I beg your pardon. It is Jack, so that'll be needed to be looked at. So both cars 3 and 4 have both had that as a recurring issue. Here's the run into the elbow. See it just a bit nervous in the rear before he turned it in, so he's just having to wait for the rear of the car to settle. That's the first clue. So then he blazes down Conrod Straight. This is all nice and easy. Then he gets to the last corner, watch the rear of the car, and right as he turns it in, pitches sideways, and that's a carbon copy of what happened on day 1 down there. And look how far wide it ran him, and you covered the amount of time loss. So just not quite right in the way in which that car's behaving in a couple of critical spots, and that's the onboard view. And it's a dual effect because he actually locked the rears, but he got the white line too. Now, yesterday marked the fastest sector over the top was Van Gisbergen. He did a 32.65. Lee just did a 32.85. So he's pretty close to the peak speed that we saw there, but certainly the best we've seen in this session. Jamie's been quicker in Sector 1 than anybody. Lee owns the top of the mountain. Fabian Coulthard is the quickest down the bottom. This is good enough for P1. He's done it again, 2 minute 4.4. Reconfirmation that he's got that car working beautifully. Truck assist entry. Personal best in Sector 1, fastest over the top of the hill. And nice job in that final sector. That's a very good job. So that's only, what, 0.4 away from what he achieved in qualifying. And I would argue pretty difficult conditions out there at the moment. Tell me that door's not opening again. Corley Jones driving it this time, and he tried to flick it back to close it. So they're just underneath our commentary area. So
it was right on the change. And that had a nasty amount of oversteer when he fed it the gear, and it was on the braking threshold. This is a nasty moment. Is that Tyler in the car? I think it's Jada.
The target number is actually now Michael Caruso. He's just done a 2 minute 4.4. Here we are on board. Cleanly through that final corner. That was a beautiful job. Looked great, and he's done a very good time. Check out the results of our final practice session for the Supercheap Auto Bathurst 1000 2020 edition. Great job, great speed. Cam Waters, 4.3 was the number. Caruso, Mostert, Tander, McLaughlin, D'Alberto, Randall, Lowndes, Courtney, Di Pasquale is our 10. And then it's Heimgartner, Hazelwood, Reynolds, Moffat, Jacobson, Webb, Kostecki and Goddard next in the queue, followed by Smith, Kelly, Fiore, Jones, Golding, Ojeda and Owen. That's the final time. Next time out, Supercars will be battling for an Armour All pole position for the final race of the championship season.